In this video, you're going to learn the exact steps how to optimize your NinjaTrader platform for maximum performance, so your platform is no longer will be sluggish or produce some errors or unwanted results, while the real price will be different from the price that it's shown to you on the chart. The first step is NinjaTrader platform optimization itself. The second step we're going to take is to show you how to optimize the particular chart that you run for the best performance, for the best speed. Before we're going to test any indicators, how useful they are, what kind of resources they consume from our CPU, we need to discover your computer critical performance benchmarks. So, because you're gonna test, when you're gonna test the indicators, you're gonna compare it with your benchmarks that is good for your computer, and you don't want to exceed those benchmarks or load your CPU more than you should. In the part 1, the NinjaTrader optimization. First, many people don't even know that when you install NinjaTrader, it may interfere with the OneDrive or many other cloud type of the software. The cloud software intended to put applications or programs and the files that related to those programs on the cloud. Imagine if you're trading but your NinjaTrader platform is installed on the cloud. That means whatever you do, whatever operation you do, whatever task you give to a Ninja platform, it must connect it to the cloud, use the internet and connect back and forth. And the same with the folders. The NinjaTrader not only installed its program, but it is the specific folders where you keep your templates, indicators, and all of that. And if that folder also is on a OneDrive, then you will have a delay in the NinjaTrader performance. So many people don't know that their errors will be instantly gone when they simply go and discover the root folder where the Ninja platform is installed and the second folder where the NinjaTrader keep its files. So this is incorrect place for the installation and files for Ninja platform. This is installation and actually it was installed this way on my computer one day. So before you update for a new version, go and check where you NinjaTrader platform install it, and this is the folder where the Ninja keep its files in your documents folder and /forward NinjaTrader 8. So there will be files that you keep like indicators, charts, and all of that. So this is an incorrect way to install it, and you absolutely must check it and be confident that your NinjaTrader platform is installed in a correct destination. It should be residing on the C drive. For me, I totally removed OneDrive, and the Windows allowed you to remove it. I don't want OneDrive to send back and forth between my computer and the cloud some kind of updates, whatever the images, whatever the data files, or whatever it is. I don't want it. So when I install it from the Windows, and the Windows actually lets you do that, it will still let you keep your critical or whatever, any files in the OneDrive if you wanted to. It's not critical to delete OneDrive totally from your Windows. The same related to any other cloud software. It is super important for us to align the time of our computer with the international time or with the benchmark time. So there's a couple programs. If you download this manual, you will get the link to synchronize your computer time. So, and second, you must check, and this is like super important for you, the data you're receiving. First, you do the synchronization of time. There's a couple of programs, one program and second. And next, you must sure that you connected to the closest data server. For example, depending on your location. For example, if I'm residing in Los Angeles, Then I'm going to connect to a paper trading Chicago if you reside in US. This is what the rhythmic recommendation is. If you reside in Europe somewhere, the rhythmic recommendation is to connect to the paper trading in Europe. So that will be a closest server for you to accept the data. And this is really important. The distance between your computer and the server where you accepting the data from. Super important. Check it. Then we need to optimize our windows for running the NinjaTrading in a best possible CPU consumption. What is that means? You go to your tray on the right bottom corner. So you need to close as much as possible programs over here and prevent them running again next time when you just starting your windows. You go to the task manager, and in the task manager you're gonna go in the start apps and close all of these unwanted programs that every time when you start your windows will actually sit there and eat your resources, consume some of the CPU or other memory. Now you close it in the startup apps and you go to the performance itself right over here in the performance and close whatever the programs you don't need it. I recommend you to close every single browser and at your advantage even the antiviruses and WhatsApp, any application, social media application like Telegram, like Discord, like Facebook, all of that should be closed. And it's super important for us to clean up all the temporary files while the NinjaTrader is closed, because you can't delete them manually. Files going to these folders on the left side, you can go manually delete one by one in your documents slash forward NinjaTrader 8 slash forward in those folders like temp, like cache, like the price line, like a database slash forward cache, and clean that folder and clean database tick over here. Okay, this will really quite often help you to get rid of the many errors. But we have a very simple app for you to use to clean up the data files and clean up a cache. Okay, now this code NT Optimizer, you can install it on your computer, and because it's a very new file, you need to let your antivirus to recognize it as safe. You can download the NT or NinjaTrader Optimizer without any shenanigans, free from best order flow slash forward free. There's a menu free on the bestorderflow.com. When you run NT Optimizer, you can clean the data with a one click of the button instead of going manually. I usually once a week. It's a must. I click on this very button and it takes care of the many problems. Hiccups in a data loading, okay, with the data source may produce irregularities on your chart. So to get rid of the irregularities, that's what you do. You close the Ninja and then you clean all, hit on the clean all on the NT Optimizer, and it'll really, you can get rid of the many issues. And then you click on the Run NT 8 NinjaTrader Platform 8 in a high priority mode. This very button. When you click on this button, and by the way, that's the only way now I'm starting my Ninja. If you don't have it on a priority, then the other programs may jump in and use that critical priority. You want your Windows set the Ninja platform as a priority, and when you do any operation on the Ninja trading, you're moving the charts, you starting closing your position, or you may be moving your stop loss and rendering. All of that is best when the Ninja platform runs in the higher in order priority. Now, the Interesting that while we working on our Ninja platform, we create a bunch of charts and we may have a few different workspaces. By the way, you see this green workspace that is not active, but it's still running in the background. It does consume energy or attention, what tasks to send to your CPU. So leave the only one workspace and close one which is highlighted over here in green. You see the icon in green. Leave the only one workspace that you're currently using and close all other workspaces like this one. Just close all of them if you want to get the best performance and the best test results for indicators. Now, here is a 12 things you need to go one by one if you want to make your chart perform one particular chart perform at its best. First, you close all other tabs and all other charts, and the better even you start with a very new and fresh chart because quite often there's some other indicators loaded and you maybe forgot about that. So you need to weed out all of this. So start with a new, especially if you're gonna test a indicator or indicators, how well they perform and how much energy they suck out of your CPU. So you want to start with a new, okay? Now, that's why I recommend close to close all and every other charts and tabs and windows, because sometimes we run our charts in a separate window. You want to close all other windows. You want to have only one window, only one work space, and only one chart. This way, you will get the best testing results, and you will understand that you can, when you control it, you will understand that that how that particular indicator will perform on you. So it's going to be a best precision and a best laboratory kind of a test. Okay, don't run tests on two indicators at the same time or like a five indicators at the same time in the different charts unless you compose one chart with a set of indicators that you're actually using and you want to test them all at once. But the best recommendations, even after that, I recommend you to test each and single indicator one by one. So you will know exactly. Now, let me give you something that most people don't know, that even drawing on your chart, and those drawing, whatever you draw, rectangles, or you use Fibonacci, that will consume a lot of energy. There's a many different variations on your chart that you may forget about it. Save it as your chart template and then start with a brand new, clean, absolutely nothing on that single chart. Now, for the tests for indicators, we recommend to use the 1 second time frame. Now, when you do the data set, when you start a new chart, please don't load any previous days. So the days to load is 0. Then you're gonna set the data series in a visual in a center price on scale. When you put it on the center, then your price will be always in the center. It's gonna easy for you to see the difference between the real price, when the real price is, and the price that your candles or chart projected to you. You will see two different prices and difference between them. Before we add any indicators for testing, we need to do our homework. So you will install nothing on the chart running only bars, candle bars. You will add only deposit killer indicator, downloading it free from the bestorderflow.com/forward free. There's a menu free on this website. So make sure you run only one single chart, as I said before, and close all other charts. This is highly recommended. Make sure that all other workspaces closed, as we spoke before, and you need to maximize the chart to make it 100% of your real estate for your monitor. So maximize the chart to 100%, make it maximum, and then you compress the chart timeline to the right to move it all candles to the right. Click on an arrow and an F button to justify the margin from the right and justify it vertically. And here's how we're gonna optimize the particular chart for testing. So we're gonna set, don't forget, I already mentioned about it, that we need to set for a 1 second, and I recommend it to test it on NQ futures, NASDAQ 100. For 1 second, tick replay is yes, the days to load is 0, no dates. And this is very critical. Break at EOD should be always, and I highly recommend on every single chart, always have it by default as check mark or yes. When you have two different charts running when you're trading, and then one of them is a break at EOD is marked and another is not marked, you may produce some errors because the break at EOD must be aligned the same way on every single chart that is running currently on your NinjaTrader platform. And of course, I'm gonna check the center price on the scale. And remember, when you're gonna move during the test your charts, this option will come off, the check mark will come off. And here's how we're optimizing our chart for testing. As I mentioned, this is the arrow and this is the F buttons on the right upper corner over there. You maximize it with this option and you squeeze your charts to the right. So it's quite simple and most of you know how to do it. Regarding the time, when it is the best time to actually test indicators, it is at the maximum ATR, maximum volatility. But to get ready for testing, you may do it in any other sessions except Asian session, because ATR on an Asian session is super slow. You prepare yourself to learn your benchmarks of your CPU, of your computer, and you can do it in a London session or a New York session. But the test itself, we recommend it at the very moment when the New York session is open, because this way you guarantee the maximum, usually maximum volatility or ATR. Now, this is the part 3. We need to discover your computer benchmarks. It is different computers, you and I, we have different machines with different settings, different monitors, and we need to benchmark your system, your machine, when it is a critical, when it reach a critical benchmark for performance. So we're gonna learn a few things like what is your normal CPU load before it becomes a critical CPU load. You need to record your number, what it is when you have no indicators on that and running only candle bars. So there's no indicators, and what we're gonna increase artificially the load for your CPU, and you will learn what is what is the CPU percentage you don't want to overload. The NinjaTrader platform, it's not going to load all of your cores. It would load one particular core with a specific task, and another core with another specific task, and another core with another specific task. It is impossible to load your CPU up to the brim, up to the 100% of its capacity. It's not going to happen. There's two tasks that the CPU core will be busy with. There's two things. First, it is receiving and calculating the data information itself. And the second major task that CPU consume energy for, it is rendering time or drawing every elements on your chart. So there is more elements on the chart than pixels. It is different than when you think about the video games, the way that a NinjaTrader platform will draw and render every single bits of information. And here's how we set up our deposit killer for the first time to run. We need to make sure that the parameter like measurement interval set to 1, and then make sure this data is equal to 0, so that we don't want to add any market data lock time. This is artificial loading the market data, and this is artificial loading or added rendering log time. So when we run our deposit killer first time, we want to see how it runs without any superficial pressure or additional data or additional log time. ATR usually set for 14, and price lines, yes, you would like to see the price lines. In yellow, it's going to show you the price line, and it can be delayed because it shows you the price line according to what your indicator is capable to render it on your chart. But the real price line with this magenta color, and this is where the real price is going to show with this color. And calculation should be set for the on-bar close. The first parameter that we need to know is render time. What is the render time without any indicators on the empty charts where only the candle bars are running? So you can record the render time for your computer and remember the number. What is the render time for no indicators on the charts for your machine? Okay, it is critical because you're gonna compare rendering time that will be added with the any other indicators. For me, in this situation, for the machine that we used for testing, it was about 17 to 20 milliseconds. After we know our rendering time with nothing on the chart, we need to discover the critical CPU usage for our machine. This is the GPU usage. It is not the CPU, but here is the CPU usage and the critical CPU usage for this particular machine that we performed the test on. Okay, now how we going to do that? We're going to add artificial pressure on the CPU with the deposit killer indicator. Open the properties for the deposit killer indicator, and then we're gonna start with getting more into the market data log time. Okay, this parameter, the first one, add market data log time. We're gonna start gradually increasing from like 20, 30, 50. We're going to, like in this case, we added only like 30 right over here. And it will be reflected on the deposit killer indicator. When you're gonna take a look at the indicator itself, it will change the results over here because we artificially loading this market data. And our goal is to gradually increase maybe from 10, 20, 30 to 50, whatever it is to you. So we load it over here more and more until the data log time will be over 1 second. In this situation, it is a 1.17 second. So when data log time increases over 1 second, then we need to take a look for the CPU usage. And the CPU usage right over here. But now you need to record your critical CPU that during the test for testing indicators, you don't want to overpass this number. In this situation, it is 26%. In your computer, it can be even 2% or 3% or 7%, whatever it is. Just remember, when it's jump over 1 second, the data log time right here, then you need to look at the critical CPU performance and write it down for your machine. You need to notice the average CPU usage for your critical CPU. It's not that we want to record the jumps in the CPU usage when it maybe jump momentarily more or less. Now, and the condition is the same. I just want to highlight it. Critical means that you don't want to overboard over this number during your indicators testing, because when the CPU reach the critical number, that means it will put any tasks that you commanding for your Ninja platform to perform on your charts, it will put them in order. And every next task, like for example, you're gonna move the chart, you're gonna squeeze the chart, you're gonna enter or exit, or you move the like a stop loss, whatever you do, any mingling on your charts, it will put that task in the order, and it will not perform until the previous tasks will be performed on your CPU. This will be your benchmark. And here is a second method how we can discover our critical CPU usage. And now, instead of adding as a market data log time over here, we may gradually add render log time over here and start it maybe from 50 or maybe 70, just gradually increasing it up to the 100 or up to 150. When the data log time reach 1 second again, this parameter, right now it is 0.01 second, and when it's gonna go like 1 point something, that at this very moment, by loading rendering time over here or over here, we will discover our critical CPU parameter, our benchmark, our norms. Okay, this is the second method to do that. You can do it with the first method, you can do with the second, you can do with both. And here we go. When we added render time up to 150, we received the data log time exceeded 1 second. At that very time, we need to take a look at our CPU usage and our critical CPU usage. On this particular computer, our critical CPU usage is 26%. And now, when we discovered our benchmarks, it is the 26% about for my CPU critical usage, and the rendering time is about the 17 to 20 milliseconds. Now we can start testing our indicators. And before we're going to perform any testings of any indicators, we need to return to 0 those parameters in a deposit killer indicator. Okay, should be returned to 0. And most of you probably have indicators already installed in your machine on your Ninja platform, and we added, as you can see right over here, it is a Ninja trading platform paid version heat map. We set it only to 200 levels up and down on a data level 2. Why are we testing this indicator? Because it's the most consuming indicator in the whole package. On this very slide, you can see the real price is differ, and this is the violet color price line, is apart from the one that is shown to us with the indicators. This is the price on the chart that is displayed to us, and we may believe during the trading that price is right here while the chart is already moved over here. And only the way to understand the difference is actually see the numbers. The numbers data log time, it shown how many minutes or seconds there is a difference between real and between the price line that's shown to us. So, and this is the first test. We're testing a new indicator by seeing the difference in data log time, while the indicators should run for 10, 15, maybe a half an hour. Here is a formula for data log time. You can see that if it is below 1 second, the data log time, which is reflected right over here, if it is below, then it is good and we can trade and we can use those indicators for trading. But when it turns over 1 second, then it's a dangerous territory. It's going to show in the orange color, and that means if the ATR jumps a little bit higher, then we will probably get our charts completely frozen. And it happens with me specifically with the NinjaTrader paid version heat map that is included in a paid version of the NinjaTrader. Now, this is unfortunately because you expect that NinjaTrader platform uh, can be built in a way that it's not producing our delays, because bookmap or heat map is a really vital instrument for us while we're trading, specifically when we're scalping. And when the data log time exceeds 5 seconds or more, then we need to concern about getting out of the orders that currently we're trading with. So we need to exit as soon as possible, call your broker, or restart your Ninja application, or restart your computer as soon as possible and close this order. So when we're testing indicators, CPU usage should not exceed with the indicators our critical CPU usage. In this particular situation, we have only 17%. We compare with our norm or our benchmark 26 as a critical, and while this is not reached 26%, I'm okay to continue my trading on that very chart. So next parameter that we can test against, it is render time. When we compare new render time with added indicators, we compare it with our normal time. Rendering time is not exceeded 50 milliseconds. We in a good territory. It's actually performing pretty well. When we're reaching 50 or more milliseconds up to the 100, so from 50 to up to the 100, we're still in a good territory. But when the render time going between 100 and 200 milliseconds, we're in a bad territory. We need to expect that our charts will be frozen and no longer we're capable to close or to add position or to close position or to move our stop losses or to do any manipulations with a frozen chart. So when it shows the 200 or more, we in a panic situation, we're in a panic mode, and whatever a bunch of indicators you're running on your chart, you need to seriously consider or take your computer and put it in a trash can if it's not performing well, or you need to go and delete or remove one by one those indicators that produce that log. This is absolutely critical. Don't ever operate when the render time exceeds 200 milliseconds. Now we're testing indicators according to FPS. What is the FPS? FPS is a frame per second. What is the frame? One frame, it is the maximum bits of information with the maximum elements on that chart. FPS, it is how many frames per second your computer renders. The more frames per second your CPU can render, then it is better. When frames per second is 20 and above, it is excellent. We still have a room for our processor. When the frames per second is about 10 to 20, then it is a good situation. We still have a room, but we need to be a little bit cautious about it. But when it goes to the only 5 to 10, then it is the situation we need to concern about it, and we need to weed out the indicators that are giving us a hard time. And if the frames per second jump into danger zone 0 to 5 only, that means the processor have a hard time, have a hiccups to process the frames. The deposit killer actually have the test results. That means you don't have to calculate anything, but simply looking at the test results. If it's in green, it is the excellent. You have enough resources. If it's in kind of blue, then start monitoring your ATR. If it's going up and down, it may kicks you out into the territory of the bad or danger. And now, if your test results is bad, that means you have a lack of resources, your CPU and other resources, and you need to close position as fast as possible. call your broker, close the Ninja, restart your computer, whatever you need to do. And when the test results goes into the danger zone, then you must close all orders as soon as possible, restart your computer, restart your platform, and remove resource demanding indicators. And now it is up to you to reconsider the collection of the indicators you are using, specifically the free ones, because they don't have a DLL files, and sometimes they actually drag so much you NinjaTrader platform that you don't even imagine. You need to be in control. Are those free indicators or other indicators updated for the latest version of the Ninja trading platform, or they are not?